to Evernote Lesson 10 for Zach's Evernote lesson planning. So this video is going to discuss GTD. This is a methodology which is called Getting Things Done. It was a productivity methodology created by David Allen, and I 100% recommend reading this book. Before I'm going to dive into details, I need to give a background on exactly how I came to this. It wasn't until graduate school where I learned about this, where one of our guest speakers, who was an executive, said, read the book, it's good, and he suggested other good books, but I've heard Getting Things Done in other places, so I said, you know what, I had to read this. So it's a $10 book, and it's worth every penny. It's a cheap book, and it's completely transformed my life, and I can see and feel how much more time I have than my other friends and my colleagues and family because of it. If you don't have time to read the book, which it's not that, it's a quick read. But then I suggest a shorter version by Daniel Gold. He uses, and this is kind of where I've kind of picked it up and integrated with Evernote, it's called Evernote, the unofficial guide to capturing everything and getting things done. Long title, but you can find a PDF online. Daniel does an excellent job explaining Evernote functions and how he incorporates it into the GTD methodology. Again, I've provided a PDF as a reference. So a lot of what I'm going to show you covers this, but I still think you can benefit from reading these books. I'm now very organized, as you probably noticed. I have 0 emails in my inbox. I'm a inbox 0 kind of guy who needs to make sure that everything is cleared out so I can think about other ideas. And I'm 95% paperless, all because of these books. So let's kind of go ahead and get started. I'm going to show this graphic up here before we get into how I incorporate it, because I think it's important to understand the concept of getting things done. So it's a process of collecting stuff, right? You receive information overload every day, whether that be from reading articles, having different ideas. You just get information overload, especially today's day and age. And the key word that we're going to talk about is the process. This means every piece of stuff has a place, no matter what. You receive documents in meetings, you're in school, you receive test results, and you just have all of this paper, ideas, junk, doesn't matter. And the idea, and this is quoted from the book, is to want your mind to flow like water, meaning you don't want to think about things that have already happened. You can always reference those things you already happened, or you can go back to those things. But the idea is to create new ideas, is to continuously focus on new things, new projects, new things that you want to do with your life. Essentially, you want your brain activity to be productive and having new ideas and not worrying about stuff that you have to do. If you have a process in place, then you shouldn't worry about your task list, right? Things are going to get done based on this process. It's there, and you always pull what is needed to be done. Less brain power to think and to do the things you love. So let's dive right in. So you have stuff. This stuff needs to go somewhere. And so this is where Evernote comes in. As you've noticed, my default notebook in Evernote is called my inbox. So anything that I have goes into this inbox. Doesn't matter how dumb, doesn't matter what it is, receipts, documents, ideas, literally anything, pictures, anything you can think of, it goes in this inbox. And the second step is an important one. What is it? This is decision-making time. So you determine what it is, and you ask yourself, is it an actionable piece of information? So I'm just going to walk you through an example as I do this. So my inbox has 11 pieces of information in it. All 11 of them should have something to do. It shouldn't sit in my inbox. So let's say I have my vehicle registration renewal form, right? That's going to have an action. I'm going to have to go get my vehicle registration. So this, I need to reg, won't take too much time. So here I'm going to put checkboxes. So it does have an action. So I want to make sure I write down what that action is. So I need to pull insurance, car insurance, I go to Randall's to do this. Right? Those are the actions that I need to take to complete this task. And so what I'm going to do in Evernote, since it does have an action, I'm going to label it next action. And so what this tells me is this tag called next action will always let me know things that I have to do. Now if I come over here and click on my next action list, it's going to show every piece of task. Here it is. Here's the vehicle registration form, and here's the action tasks I have to do here. I have actions on a lot of different things, right? But that's okay. It doesn't mean I have to do them all at one time. I just know that these are things that I eventually need to do. Doesn't matter when I do them, but I need to do them. So coming back into the chart here, it did have an action, and so I went to this what is the action, which we'll get to shortly. What if it doesn't have an action? What can we do with that piece of equipment? Well, there's only 3 things. 1, you may not need it ever, so you trash it. Get rid of it. It doesn't need to be in your folder, doesn't need to be in your Evernote. And that happens, and that's perfectly okay. I like trashing things, unless you obviously need them. Maybe this is something you want to do one day, right? I gave an example in an earlier video is maybe this is, I want to buy a car later, but I'm saving up money right now, so I don't need to worry about techniques for negotiating for cars when I go car shopping. That's someday maybe, and probably even a reference, right? That's something I want to file. I want to file it away. It doesn't have an action, but I'm going to file it away and make sure I can represent a later date when I know I'm going to go buy that car. So either reference it later or you trash it. Again, staying with my example, yes, it does have an action. So I'm not so concerned about this project's component. I'm going to jump down here to this. So if it does have an action, I can either, and one of the golden rules is if I can do it within 2 minutes, if I can complete this action, whether that could be respond to an email, whether that be go check the mail. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it right then and there. It'll save you so much time in the long run, and so you don't have to look at it later, and that way it gets out of your head. You don't have to worry about it. So, as I mentioned before, I titled it Next Action, so I know it goes into there. Now, if it has a date, which this one does, I will go ahead and put a reminder on it. Let's say I need to get it done by next Saturday. On the 4th, 8 a.m., I will get a reminder that I need to go complete my vehicle registration form and get a new tag on my car. And that's going to show up on my calendar. I don't have to remember to do this because this is automatically going to remind me on that Saturday morning, which is great. And it will be in my calendar, so if I'm looking at a week ahead, that will absolutely show up. Okay. So what if there's nothing I'm able to do at this? So let's say that it's still a project, but there's nothing that I am capable of doing without someone else touching it first, right? I don't have an example in my head, but what I label these, again, there's 2 things if it does have an action. I'm going to do something with it, or I need to wait for something for me to complete it, right? So here's a project, planning a camping trip with my in-laws, right? I created this back in February. It was way too cold at the time. And so this is something that I want to do, but I've been waiting to do this at the right time. I'll probably go in the fall. So I put this in my waiting for bucket. As you see here, I have a tag called waiting for. And so if I ever click on that shortcut or that tag called waiting for, I know things that I need to wait for, right? Waiting on my beneficiary to change on my farmer's insurance, or waiting for a tool to come in so I can fix my faucet, right? Online protesting for my house taxes. There's a lot of different things to do that, and that just makes it easy. And I'm trying to do this in a nutshell. So that two different things, right? It doesn't have an action. If it does, you either put a waiting for task on it or a next action task, and you do something with it. If it doesn't have an action, you either trash it or you reference it later. Okay, so a few more things here I just want to wrap up quickly. The book is a little dated when it comes to technology, but as I showed you just a minute ago, Evernote has built-in reminders, and we went over that in lesson 3, so you can always go back to review that. Use your mind to think of new stuff. If you don't need to remember when you have projects due, or warranty information, or when you had the last oil change, you need to let Evernote do that for you. You want to focus your energy and time on things that are more important. And that's the whole idea of the book. It's being more productive. Use the Sunrise Calendar app I mentioned in the previous video. Your Evernote reminders are going to show up on it, and you can integrate it into your daily calendar. And when you have a calendar, you continue to stay organized. So a calendar is a major component to this methodology. So please, please, please use a calendar. I don't know how people don't use a calendar in this day and age. One of the last things I want to talk about, this is called the weekly review. And this is between the 2-minute rule and the weekly review. Those are your two bigger concepts. This has to be done. And it's very self-explanatory. You do it once a week. You review your task. You review your next action list once a week. You're waiting for a task once a week. Your inbox once a week. So once a week, I should have an inbox 0 here, right? These all should have an action or a waiting for tag, or should be deleted. It should be something, but it shouldn't be in my inbox. You don't want to let this grow too big. It's going to get overwhelming, and you're not going to want to do it. So again, make sure that your next action list is actually something you want or you need to do if you have time to do it in the coming week. Take a minute on Sunday evenings to go through this, right? Moving into where it belongs. Maybe it goes to a someday maybe list, which I do have as well. These are things where I might want to do the project. It's a big project, but just want to keep it on the back burner for a while. And if you don't think you'll ever do it, just delete it. Be honest with yourself. Go through your someday maybe list and see if some projects and actions can be moved to the next action list. Maybe this is something that you want to put on the front burner now. If creating a new project on your project list, make sure to figure out its next physical, visible action and put it on your next action list. And I think that's about it. They call it the secret weapon when you combine Evernote with getting things done, and it's truly a success bliss. I can take on so much more and feel less stress, which is very unique, and not many people can say that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, please, please let me know if you have any questions or concerns with this. I'm always happy to review this in person. I'll continue to create new videos once new functions come available through Evernote, which I truly believe they will. It'll keep evolving, and I will continue to post those videos. So thanks for watching. I have resources and references and then show minutes. Please feel free to use those anytime. Thanks for watching.